That is psychological abuse. That terrifies her because she doesn't know if he's ever going to really take that gun out and shoot her, but the fear is there. So anybody who is scared in their home or feels like they're being controlled needs to be careful. But we do have services that can help folks that are in situations like that. That's the good news, that people who are feeling like they're in a violent home and that it's getting more and more tense because of the economy, they can reach out to Providence House Domestic Violence Services in Burlington County or in Ocean County. And I know that there are programs like this all across the country. And there is a national domestic violence hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. In Burlington County and Ocean County, we have our numbers that can be, you can look that up on the website for Catholic Charities, which I think is going to be on the screen.
Let's get back to the economy if we can a little
Sure.
bit, because we're living right now in a time that it's interesting how gas went up and gas went down, but everything else is, and I know I get puzzled. It's not my field, economics, but when I keep hearing of these thousands of people losing jobs, and I say to myself, gosh, what does happen? Does Catholic Charities have any outreach before someone loses a job, or are companies trying to help people if you lose a job? I mean, it'd be awful if someone just says, and I hear these stories that people just like walk in and they say, empty out your desk and goodbye.
That's right.
I mean, that alone would probably get me upset. But I mean, is there any way that we can help people that even if they were thinking about maybe possibly losing a job, can they get some help before that even happens?
The situation that we have at Catholic Charities, like a lot of other nonprofits, is that at this time, with the economy getting weaker and weaker and people being very unsure of what's going to happen, we are seeing more and more people. You said in your opening that there was a 40% increase at emergency and community services service area of Catholic Charities. And Providence House is seeing a 30% increase. We don't have the money to see all the people and help all the people that need to be helped. As far as job retraining and helping people who are about to lose their jobs, there's only so much that Catholic Charities can do. We can try to help them with budgeting, but when the money stops coming in and they have to think about retraining for another type of job, we just can give referrals to other sources. Catholic Charities doesn't have...
Because that's the cycle, that not only do some folks lose their job, but the more people that lose their job, they don't have the chance to donate a few dollars back to organizations like yourselves.
That's exactly right.
And the cycle goes around.
That's exactly right.
In fact, on the way to tape the program here, I happened to stop at an office, Catholic Charities, Mount Carmel Guild, and I was bringing some food and some turkeys. And I just pull up the car, and all of a sudden people are jumping out and, Father, can I have one? I mean, it was just amazing to me how...
Left my office today, and the clients that we have that are victims of domestic violence that can't make the ends meet right now, they're also coming in and getting lots and lots of baskets for Thanksgiving dinner. One of the other things that can happen in a violent situation, a violent home with a bad economy is that it can actually keep somebody in the home. We have several cases right now where the partner has lost their job and the tension is building, and so they should be looking to get out, but they're afraid to get out. They're afraid to stay, but they're also afraid to leave because with the economy so bad, there's no way they feel that they can make it out on their own. So they stay in the relationship because of the need for, to feed their children. I also have a couple of cases where they have separated. The abuser has lost his job and now can't pay child support, so she's still in a financial bind. That's what I was saying before about people coming forward for help, is those are kinds of things we can help them with the concrete turkey and you know, all the fixings for Thanksgiving. Around the holidays, we provide gifts for both the parent and the children, so that they can have a nice holiday. And even with a weakened economy, there are still people that are incredibly generous and are coming forward and helping us, and I can say thank you to that, and let people know that if they do want to help families that are in need around the holidays and any time. I mean, Christmas in July too. We have domestic violence going on all year, that they can reach out to us through the website. To help us at any time.
I know it does my heart good, Jean, for people like yourselves, but there are so many good people in this community and in our world. I mean, there's just so many good people. Even now, I'm hearing, you know, I drive a lot in places, and sometimes I pray, and sometimes I put the sports radio on, and I hope I'm praying when I do that. But even there, I'm hearing, you know, some of the sports announcers talking about, you know, we know we're in a tough economy, but if you can spare a little food, or you can spare a little coat, or you can spare a little, and maybe sometimes it's even just sparing a smile for human dignity. I think that's
very good.
You know, one of the things that I would imagine that how do we keep their dignity for people that maybe do need something, but they don't want to be just doled out in a sense. Right. You know, they want to be able to feel. How do you address that kind of a situation?
Well, one of the things that we do is that our holiday store, for example, we get all kinds of things donated to us, and then we will have the mother come in and go into this room where it's just full of brand new stuff, and let her shop herself. It's all free, but she goes in there and just picks out what she wants to pick out. And then we bring the kids in, and we let the kids shop for their mother and their grandmother and their siblings. And so we're definitely trying to show them respect, that we're not there to guess what kind of toy that Johnny would want. We're letting them to pick that out themselves.
That's just so beautiful. And hopefully, you know, someday when they're back on their feet, they'll contribute back a little bit, so that we're all trying to live to live that great gospel. I'm a big storyteller and a story listener. Do you have any other stories without anybody's names that you could help at this time of need for everybody?
Well, we definitely have the stories of several losing their jobs. The violent partner has lost the job, and now we have people coming in more to receive counseling on what their options are. Victims of domestic violence tend to be very ambivalent about what they want to do. As I said, it's a terrible time to leave because of the economy. But even in a strong economy, it takes an average of 6 or 7 times of actually physically leaving the situation before a victim can make the decision to become a survivor and get rid of the violence in their home. So we often see people who make appointments to come in, and they cancel them or they don't show up. Lately, like 99% of the people who are making appointments are coming, and they're coming so that they can learn what it is that they can do to remain safe. So we're trying to help them with safety planning and coming into support groups, because they feel so isolated, as I mentioned. Now they can come into a support group with 10 or 15 other women who are experiencing the same thing and not feel so isolated. And we do have groups for men too. We try to keep them separated, because if a man is the victim, his situation is somewhat different than the female. So we do have groups just for the men who are being abused. There are several barriers that keep somebody in the violent situation, and we try to focus on 6 major barriers. Safety, try to keep them safe. They can come into our safe house. They can stay 45 to 60 days. They bring their children with them. And
so important, safety.
So important, safety. Lack of knowledge about domestic violence. A lot of people think, well, I don't have any broken bones, no bruises, so I must not be a victim. Well, the psychological abuse that I mentioned before, and the emotional abuse of you're no good, you would be nothing without me, that leads to the physical violence. So we need to educate people on what the domestic violence really is. Thirdly, that isolation that I've referred to several times is a barrier. They don't have any friends because he hasn't allowed them to have friends. They don't have contact with their family, so the family is not being supportive. So how can we get them back into less isolated? Their self-image. They're told with every punch or every push, you're no good and you would be nothing without me. So we have to kind of shore up their self-image. And housing and financial barriers keep them in the home. And that last one, the financial barriers, is why all of the services at Providence House are free of charge, because we don't want to be part of that financial barrier. So then that's an obstacle for us, because we can't reach out to as many people as we'd like to because of the lack of funding. We're constantly doing whatever we can to try to raise funds. The statistics in Burlington and Ocean County is that there's probably about, the Uniform Crime Report, about 9,000 to 10,000 reports to the police, incidents reported to the police each year. The FBI estimates that only about 25% of victims of domestic violence ever report it to the police. So if there are 10,000 reported to the police, 75% are not being reported. And so we really have a lot of people in our state of New Jersey and across the country that are being physically abused or emotionally or psychologically abused that could need services. And so funding becomes a big issue for that.
So we have lots and lots of things to work for and pray for.
Right.
Is there any idea that even somebody who does abuse in any way, physically, emotionally, psychologically, that there is also a love relationship that's misplaced, misspent, or whatever words you want to use? I mean, do some people think that I am loved, but there's something wrong with the way love is expressed, so to speak?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very often, the women that we see or the men that we see in our programs say, I don't want to leave him or her. I just want the violence to stop. I love her. I love him. Catholic Charities in Mercer County actually has a program for the actual perpetrators of the violence. And I personally went to one of their treatment sessions and met some of these gentlemen. And I say gentlemen because you really would never know, other than the fact that they probably were arrested and they were told they had to come to this program, that they were physically abusive. They are human beings. I believe very strongly that we all, man, woman, has the potential to be abusive. I think that a lot of people, luckily, a lot more people know how to control that. But the people that are being abusive, the actual abusers, just need help in learning what they can do to find other outlets.
I think I took a course that said keep the lid on the id or something like that.
The lid on the id.
You know, God bless you, Jean. Thank you so much.
Very
Gosh,
welcome.
we could talk for another hour. Our Catholic Corner, folks, all I can say is be at peace, keep your hearts, and allow yourself to be at prayer and ask God to guide you.